wgnsradio.com News Center.
Barrett Firearms Manufacturing Incorporated is investing in Murfreesboro's future with a $76.4 million expansion to build the Barrett Manufacturing and Technology Campus. This state-of-the-art facility, located at 8808 Manchester Pike, will become the company's global manufacturing hub and is projected to create 183 new jobs by its early 2027 opening. Just 10 miles southeast of downtown Murfreesboro, the 250,000 square foot campus will centralize operations from R&D to distribution, strengthening Rutherford County's industrial landscape. The expansion represents a doubling of Barrett's workforce and highlights Tennessee's leadership in the firearms industry. Since 2020, the state's Economic Development Agency has supported 16 projects in Rutherford County, adding 2,600 jobs and over $300 million in investments. Key local and state leaders, including Governor, two beloved water parks. Murfreesboro's Borough Beach at Sportscom and Smyrna's Outdoor Adventure Center opened for the season on May 24th. Borough Beach, located in McKnight Park, offers giant slides, a splash pad, and more. Admission ranges from free for young children to $12 for adults, with extended hours throughout the week. Both centers offer fitness classes and lap swimming, adding to the summer's excitement in Rutherford County. That's all for now. I'm Dalton Barrett with WGNS Radio, part of your Good Neighbor Network, and I'll talk to you later.
The Good Neighbor Network, on air and online at wgnsradio.com. Rutherford County's most trusted source for local news.
First Shot, growing in Christ with life and athletic skills.
So we teach God's Word at everything we do to implant it in them so that they understand that the only way to get through the world is with God on their side.
First Shot founder and executive director Andy Herzer.
Our focus is on our inner city here at Patterson Park.
From academics to athletics, First Shot's focus is toward building a stronger, more courageous spirit to face opportunities and obstacles that our youth confront every day. To find out more about First Shot, go to firstshottn.org.
Catch up on the latest community news and events, all before you hit your destination. The Rutherford Roundup. Subscribe today wherever you listen to podcasts or visit wgnsradio.com.
We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Good morning. This is Bill Krause on a Thursday morning. Somewhat cloudy, somewhat packed. I actually hit quite a bit of rain coming into Murfreesboro a few minutes ago. So may you stay dry, may you stay safe, and may you stay happy. This morning we're somewhat having a post-Memorial Day observance and taking it from a little bit different approach. We have as our visitor this morning a dear, dear longtime friend, associate, colleague, mentor, etc., Bobby Welsh, who's a military professional, served in the Air Force for many, many years. And good morning, Bobby. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Bill, and you?
I'm doing wonderful. May I start the show not necessarily on a negative point, but at least as a point to start off where we're going with this. WGNS and our radio audience joins me in extending our deepest condolences and sympathy to you, Bobby, for the loss of your lovely wife, Ann, after 65 years of marriage. Ann is listening some way, somehow. WGNS reaches all points of the world and then some. So our sympathies and condolences are to you, my friend.
Thank you, Bill, so much.
Memorial Day we just observed. I have to start off with an interesting question. You know, everybody today in the weird, wild political world always has criticisms for anything and everything. And I think it's one of the first times that I've heard criticism when somebody says, have a happy Memorial Day weekend. And the query is, can you have a happy Memorial Day weekend?
Wow, that is an excellent question.
I don't know the answer.
What we need is we have the best of memories. Our brains do that for us normally. We try to remember the best things in life. And some of the worst things in life, we sort of chuckle about. Things could have been different. Certainly death is a defining moment. But the fact that it is being brought up that it is a Memorial Day says it all. You have memories, and you want to have the best memories, and we are supplied with that, with our natural tendency to remember the good and disregard the bad.
You know, you sent to me here recently, in loving memory of Ann, the card that went out. And I'd like to get started with this because I think this really says it more. And I will tell you this verse is going to stay with me forever until that day. And you don't mind me saying it, but I'd like to share it with our visitors this morning.
Not at all.
God saw you getting tired. A cure was not to be. So he put his arms around you and whispered, "Come to me." With tearful eyes we watched you and saw you pass away. Although we love you dearly, we could not make you stay. A golden heart stopped beating, hard-working hands at rest. God broke our hearts to prove to us he only takes the best. Talk about Ann for a moment, if it's okay.
Sure.
You know, it's been, just a little over 2 months?
A little over 2 months.
And, you know, Ann, you and Ann, you were awfully young when you guys were married, weren't you?
23.
At least you weren't like the French president, were you?
I don't think so.
I mean, I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at stories like that, but what was he, 15 years age in high school, and his teacher was 40, and she fell in love with him?
At kindergarten.
Oh, gee. No,
She was his kindergarten teacher.
Oh, and they've been married all these years, though, so I guess that goes well. Before we go any further, and I know we've done this before when we've had you so often as a visitor on the Roundtable, but talk about Bobby for a moment. Born where, schooled where, military career where, post-military life where. Just kind of give us a little bio, because you're one of the most interesting, dynamic people in all my years I've ever met.
Well, thank you, Bill. My father was a tugboat captain as we were growing up, and I would work summers with him, alternating with my brother. So I went to the Merchant Marine Academy in Great Neck, New York, and so I went through the plebe year there and enjoyed it. But then when I went to sea, unfortunately, it didn't take me long to see that I had not just motion sickness, but vertigo.
Wow.
And so I went 5 days ill, and I made one more cruise, but by that time I said I couldn't function. So I left and went to the University of Miami, graduated from there in ROTC in 1961, and got married on October 1st, 1960, and went on active duty on June the 10th of 1961.
Just before Vietnam.
Just before, and I was actually Vietnam, when they passed the PACT Act, P-A-C-T, and this is a sideline, but it should be of interest to a lot of veterans, and that is that we actually became involved in Vietnam in 1962 in Thailand, where we were assisting the Thai government with some counter terrorism activity. So when they passed the PACT Act in 2022, they went back to 1962 for coverage for certain things that GIs were affected by. So any veterans looking back on that today, if you served for years, the buzzword was you had to have boots on the ground in Vietnam from 1965 to 1975. And the PACT Act, it actually goes back to 1962.
Even before the Bay of Tonkin, huh?
Even before the USS Maddox.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So there's a lot of history, but you should check that out if you were a veteran. But I went on active duty, became a navigator, an electronic warfare officer, and served in B-52s for 3,500 hour flying hours, about 7 or 8 years. We had what we call Chrome Dome, and on November 22nd, 1963 or so, I was flying on one of those on the day that JFK was what we now say publicly assassinated, and more coming about that. So in your military career, you get involved in a lot of this. I wanted to advance my education, so I went along going with remote classes at a military base with University of Southern California, and graduated from there on the day that RFK was publicly
bad timing in
Bad timing.
1968.
68.
June
8th.
In June.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I went on, and I wanted to teach, and I tried to get a USC started up, and I was being transferred to another B-52 base, Mather Air Force Base. And so I didn't have the time, so I started Golden Gate University on the base at Mather Air Force Base. And then I went to education with industry, where I took my uniform off for a year and wore civilian clothes, and worked at Aerojet Liquid Rocket Company. And I taught for Golden Gate College at Mather, which was right next door. So I got transferred to Karate. So I said, hey, I had moved the program over with the education officer over to McClellan Air Force Base, and they were rotating out of Karate. So I wanted to teach some of my students at Karate, but didn't have the time, so I taught for University of Maryland. And actually, and this will be interesting to you, I taught a program with my students, but for the University of Maryland. It was at a time that there was a bombing pause. They were flying out over the Gulf of Tonkin, and I would include them on the class session on the radio while they're circling along, not just monitoring activities in Vietnam. So that was actually an interesting twist to distance education.
Reality radio.
Yep, and the Navy followed that by putting instructors for different universities on the ships, so they could do that. And that's I moved along, and when I retired, went into teaching, and I met somebody named Bill Krause. My goodness, I had applied for the doctoral program at University of Southern California, and Bill and I would have been classmates. We would have been classmates, but I was transferred and got my PhD later on. And then Bill and I became associated with the university, who later became the largest distance education enrollment program for PhD students in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I just learned, this is new to you, Bill, that National University from San Diego acquired North Central University lock, stock, and barrel about 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. Because North Central grew from Southern California University of Professional Studies, which you and I were kind of the foundation for it.
we were the Deanettes there, or whatever we call the.
Yes.
What, was it the Bill and Bob show or the Bob and Bill show?
Well, we gave you top billing. Of course.
Thank you. I don't deserve it.
You had better jokes than I did.
Oh, really?
Now, because this is Memorial Day honoring, even though we're several days beyond the actual date, your family was with you as you were a military professional. Talk about, a military family, because when we identify that roughly 1 million Americans have died in war on behalf of fighting for America since the Revolutionary War, although that's a statistic that is skewed quite heavily by the Civil War, since something like 600,000 of those 1 million people killed were in the Civil War in the 19th century. But you started having a growing family. Your lovely wife, Anne, was a wonderful military wife. And we have to take a moment to, in the memories of Memorial Day, not only remember the men and women that gave their lives for this beautiful, wonderful nation, but the families who provided their loved ones for the defense of this nation: wives, husbands, parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, and so forth. The list goes on and on and on. So a special tribute to Anne this week, based upon being one of those millions of military spouses who, as the song said, stood by her man.
Oh, I love that story. And little known fact is there is, in fact, a congressional, presidentially approved holiday on the Friday before Mother's Day every year. It's called Military Spouse Appreciation Day.
Oh, you sure don't hear much about it.
No, you don't. It's well known within the military community because they open up the bases for it. They have parades. They have free military shows. They go all out to do that. On top of that, and as I wrote to you, we communicated not like they do today with FaceTime, but we communicated by mail, but also by audio tapes. But a poignant memory to me was after about 6 months into my deployment, our older daughter, Linda, at the end of a letter said, "I love you, but I don't remember who you are."
Oh, how horrible, but how meaningful. How old would you have said she was at that point?
7.
Oh, wow. And Linda was right there for you these last couple of months of certainly grief and loss.
I'm staying with her at the moment. She's about 20 feet from me, working internationally.
Please say hi to Linda for me. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Linda. My goodness. Yeah, she will listen to the podcast. She is talking now to people in Canada, Germany, and India with her company and HR. And she followed along with your daughter, who has done quite well with the radio there in Nashville.
Yes. Channel 5. Yes, absolutely.
And you didn't mention that you served in the Army.
I wasn't. No, you'd never say that. I was in the Navy.
Well, you told me Army.
Okay. So you were Air Force. I was Navy Public Information Officer.
Why did I think Army?
Well,
because you were in Hawaii.
I love the ocean, and for some reason, 6 of us went active duty from the Naval Reserve. 5 of them got destroyers and aircraft carriers. And when I saw my orders, Comfair Hawaii, and I saw the beautiful words of Hawaii at the end of Commander Fleet Air, I thought, aloha. And here we go. We'll be right back, Bobby. We've got to take a word from our sponsors, and let's talk more about tribute and dedication to those families that have sacrificed their loved ones.
At Turner Security, we bring cutting-edge protection with live video monitoring, access control entry, advanced camera systems, and intermedia IP phones, all designed to keep your business safe and connected. From small businesses to large enterprises, our expert team ensures seamless integration and around-the-clock monitoring, because security isn't just a service, it's our mission. Turner Security, powered by TechCore.
Disposal in the city, that number is closer to $400 per household on your property taxes right away.
The garbage that we generate will have to be taken 60 miles upstream, and you'll have to cover the charge. We don't want to be up the creek without a paddle. The answer's here, Middle Point Landfill.
I learned a lot of life lessons from my dad.
He's been there my entire life, and he's been a great example of what a father should be.
He always embraced and taught me to be a cowboy.
Dad has the weight of the world on his shoulders.
The guy is extremely talented and very knowledgeable.
He's a good man and a strong man who's not afraid to do what he needs to do for his family.
It ain't easy every day, and he dang sure made it look easy.
And I'll always be thankful for that.
Boo Barn, keep west.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by AmeriCare Pest Control and the law offices of John Day.
This is a paid legal ad.
Hi, this is John Day of the law offices of John Day. I've lived and worked as a lawyer in Middle Tennessee for over 30 years, and to me, every single day has been an honor. That's why our firm is so involved with community programs like bicycle helmet giveaways and our Safe Ride Home program. At the law offices of John Day, we're not just looking to make donations. We want to make a difference in the community we hold so dear. And if you're ever injured, know that we are here for you too.
For over 78 years, you've depended on WGNS for your local events. Murfreesboro Fire and Rescue Department's Teen Fire Academy is Wednesday through Friday, June 25th through 27th. It provides an engaging, hands-on firefighting experience for teens ages 13 to 17. Call the Murfreesboro Fire and Rescue Department for more information. And on those same dates, June 25th through 27th, the 16th Annual MTSU Alumni Summer College. Contact MTSU for more information about the 16th Annual Alumni Summer College. What does it take to become a volunteer at Greenhouse Ministries? Attend the volunteer orientation session Thursday mornings at 10, and that's at Greenhouse Ministries. Don't forget, this is the weekend for the Tennessee Valley Lineman Rodeo over at the Williamson Family Farm. That's just off Medical Center Parkway near the Avenue of Murfreesboro, behind the Chamber of Commerce. And thank you, Middle Tennessee Electric, for making this possible. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor Events.
Rutherford weather.
Cloudy skies in store for this afternoon with a chance for showers and storms, highs in the lower 80s. More scattered showers and storms tonight, a low of 62. I'm meteorologist Michael Caron, News Radio WGNS. Right now it's 66.
Broadcasting from the Middle Tennessee Electric Studios. MTE serves members with more than just electricity. Their community outreach team works with schools, parents, and students to provide engaging and unique learning experiences. MTE serving to make life better since 1936.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
This is Bill Krause, back to the WGNS Radio Roundtable, Thursday morning edition. And we're having a delightful visit with Bobby Welsh, longtime friend, longtime associate, longtime mentor. I have to put it that way because I learned a lot from Bobby over the years of our professional relationship in the college field. But, Bobby, I hope you don't mind that I read a second paragraph from a letter you sent out to all the people that knew and loved and respected Ann. And this paragraph, I think, says it all for all military personnel's spouses or family. And there's a second paragraph, and I just think it really says it all. And let me read it at this point. Throughout our life together, she was a pillar of strength, grace, and kindness. Her love touched the lives of many, and I have been blessed to share my days with such a remarkable woman. As we navigate this difficult time, I find solace in the cherished moments we shared and the legacy of love and compassion she leaves behind, and to know she has completed her suffering and is at peace. This would be a tribute to millions of other family members who were the strength and support and backup of our military personnel since the founding of this nation. And, the tribute that we're providing to you and Ann is reflective of what I feel so strongly about, the tribute to the families of those that sacrificed their lives. I do not want to be misinterpreted as saying less respect for the men and women who gave their lives for the defense and protection of our values, ways of life, and this wonderful, wonderful country. But I never want to forget also the families that took the loss. So, a tribute to the men and women who were part of the family of the military support. How many years were you actually in the service, Bobby?
I had a total of 26 years, both Navy and Air Force, reserve until I went on active duty.
Mm-hmm. And you retired in what office?
I was a lieutenant colonel on special operations in Florida at Herwood Field, heavily involved in a highly, highly classified rescue operation for the hostages held by Iran.
Wow! In 1979 was when they were taken.
That's right. And then in '81 we were ready to go. I could tell you a war story, but nobody would believe it. So, what can I say? But the thing about history is it didn't have to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
And had, for want of a nail, the shoe was lost.
Yes.
It could have been different. Had it been different, I hope you're sitting down.
I am.
Had it been different with the rescue attempt and subsequent activities, Iran would not be the powerhouse that would be. The world would be different. So what we're seeing now is we're having words instead of trading bullets, and those words backed up with what I served in, the deterrent force. We didn't want to have war, be strong, that we are in a better place. I want to digress just quickly.
Sure.
And give you some facts and figures. Revolutionary War, 25,000. These are all rounded. War of 1812 to 1815, 15,000. Mexican-American War, 13,000. Civil War, between 620,000 and 700,000, both sides. World War I, 111,000. World War II, over 400,000, as you mentioned. Korean War, 37,000. Vietnam, 58,000, not including a lot that are still suffering and dying from the effects. Persian Wars, collectively, approximately 16,000.
Wow.
Since 9/11. 7,000 of them in Iraq and Afghanistan. So we have so many people that have given their lives. And I was at a Bible study meeting, and we were reading Luke, and they concerned the Samaritan who was passed by a rabbi and a Levite, and then finally was helped by someone. I said, well, in this week, Memorial Week, most of us in the Bible study are veterans. You will not see one American military person pass someone in need. They will stop.
Mm-hmm.
They will help. They know what it is to literally sign their life away for the protection of this great country. So it was really quiet as people, including myself, reflected on the dedication that people have from their military experience. And what makes Israel so great is everyone serves. Male and female.
You raised an interesting question, and not to necessarily break down the statistics, but the question was of the loss of 1 million plus people over that period of time. The portion that died, not actually an immediate hit by bullet, but from injuries over a period of time. Wouldn't this also be a great time to pay special tribute to the veterans' hospitals and the medical support? And hopefully we can assure that it's 100% medical support to assist men and women who were badly injured, did have and suffered great loss as a result of the injury, to salute the men and women who survived but are post-surviving.
It is sobering to go to a Veterans Administration hospital and see the many GIs with missing limbs, losing hope, and they would love to have visitors, people that come up to them and say, thank you for your service. I have people that do that because I wear my B-52 hat, and I have after 20 years, the state of Florida listed Bronze Star Medal winners on their license plate. So even though I just renewed, I got one because they had a lot of people that served, but there was a little bit extra, and I'm proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can keep this in people's memories, otherwise, what is it for?
Exactly. Oh, I do have to ask you this question. The love of the B-52, those old timers are still up in the air, correct?
I wear the hat. The B-52s are still flying, but I am not. I went to a antique store the other day, and they wanted to buy me.
Good. And so instead of B-52, it would be called Bobby 52.
Yeah. Well, as we speak, they are currently on Diego Garcia, along with B-1Bs, B-2s, F-35s, and F-16s. I don't think I'm revealing any secret. That's all over the news. That is a long distance from where they have to go, but those airplanes, B-52s particularly, we flew for 25 and a half hours. We flew approximately halfway around the world in one night with 2 air refuelings.
Mm-hmm.
So they're now they have missiles that they fire forward, but it's for deterrence. It's not to start a war. It's to stop one from starting. So I want to make that point that we maintain our strength so that we don't have to go to war.
Now, one of the areas, and I will put your thinking cap on for this one, we have seen a change recently. Best change that I can identify is the number of men and women who are enlisting in the military versus as it was for previous years. And recruitments at all services are at new heights and certainly encouraging. What would you tell a young man or a young woman, if you were much closer to us here in Rutherford County, Needless to say, you'd be in my class with every young man and young woman. What would you tell about the excitement, the enthusiasm, the passion, the commitment of serving in the military well beyond what the recruiter may tell you why it's so important?
Bill, we have a connection not just through the radio wires, but through the universe.
Mm-hmm.
You will not believe how many times I get into conversations with young people and ask them why they're not in the National Guard or the reserves. Start off with that, and then you'll learn. You'll get an education. You'll get your choice. You'll stay living in one area. And when we really, really need you, you are ready to go. But you will have instant friends that will last a lifetime. You won't believe the camaraderie that people develop. It's a team.
It's a family. It's a family.
It's a family.
Mm-hmm.
And we joke, when I'm out of range of a Marine, I'll ask them if I know the Marine, what do you call a Marine with an IQ of 160? And they fumble it around, and I finally tell them the answer, it's a platoon. Well, hallelujah, they laugh.
Yes.
Otherwise, but that's family camaraderie.
Exactly.
That's one where you can joke about anything and all, because believe me, I worked with the Navy, the Marines, the Coast Guard, with all of them. And when you are in that institution, you are family.
You know,
I'm glad it's been recognized again, and people are joining. I'm really proud of that.
You know, I hate to put the financial aspect on it, but it's a very valid point. You may remember when you and I, part of the many schools we teamed together, Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, which was providing education on base for Army and Air Force and Navy. I don't know, did you ever go up to Fort Irwin to teach like I did?
Yes, I did.
Oh, I think you did. I know we did Magoo in the Navy and Oxnard, Ventura, and I know we did San Diego, but in Magoo was basically the tank division and so forth, way out in the desert. If anybody's ever been out to Point Magoo, it's the longest cul-de-sac. Get off I-15 and 30. It's the longest cul-de-sac in the world, and it's right a ridge over from Death Valley. So I can tell you, when you teach in the summer at Fort Irwin, it was hot, especially when the air conditioning units went out. I had to take the students down to Holiday Inn at Barstow in order to survive. But I remember telling the men and women who were professionals, I said, have you ever looked at this way financially? Let's say you put in 26 years and you were 18 when you joined. And so now when you retire, you're 44 years of age. Still a young man, still a young woman, primarily in the professional peak of your life. Do not touch your retirement from that 26 years. Bank it. In those days, we were getting, well, actually it wasn't much different than now. We were getting 5 to 6% on CDs. I said, just bank it. And then get a civilian job, work your retirement at the civilian job. And at that time, people were still retiring at 65. So I had them calculate how much money, and this is going way back in the mid-1990s, how much money would you have accrued at 5% interest from your military retirement that you banked from age 44 to age 65? And they thought, oh, maybe $100,000. I said, that's your homework assignment. You come back next week and you tell me. And they came back with wide eyes. They were getting close to 7 figures, close to, close to $1 million accrued by interest and so forth. I said, now you're 65. You have your retirement from your civilian job. You have your military retirement still continuing. Now you're drawing the interest on that money you accrued from the military, because it's the military that is the only employer that allows you to start drawing retirement at a age in the 40s rather than age in the 60s or even 70s. And as a result, you just technically would be drawing from that. I said to put you in a financial plan that why not have the most amount of money coming to you in your golden years so that you can enjoy rather than wondering where your next meal is coming from, your next shelter is going to be paid for. And it is so amazing. And a lot of them did. So military advantage is so great in terms of financial.
Are you a recruiter?
No, I'm a realist, and I say look at everything and look beyond the obvious. Look beyond the obvious.
I just called daughter Linda the proudest words I can think of. In about a month, she's going to become a military mom. When her oldest son, when I swear him in as a second lieutenant in the Army.
Wow.
When he goes to, now it's going to be Temple University for a 4-year medical doctor's program. If he went to the military medical school in Bethesda, Maryland, he would start off as a second lieutenant at $80,000 a year with all benefits.
Well, tell him this story too. And again, I'm not a recruiter, but I like to take positiveness. And on a Memorial Day, again, we're saluting, we're honoring, we're thinking, we're praying for those people that gave their lives. But right after we take this break, I want to talk to you about a recruiter that I had in an Embry-Riddle class at the old March Air Force Base, and his recruiting for specialists and what they were being given for a 4-year duty as a specialist. We'll be right back and having a wonderful visit with Bobby Welsh.
At Turner Security, we bring cutting-edge protection with live video monitoring, access control entry, advanced camera systems, and intermedia IP phones, all designed to keep your business safe and connected. From small businesses to large enterprises, our expert team ensures seamless integration and around-the-clock monitoring, because security isn't just a service, it's our mission. Turner Security, powered by TechCore.
Progressive has great customer service, and it's easy to reach us because great and easy is the way to be. Like salads, great for you, and so easy you can put any group of veggies in a bowl and it's a salad. A full carrot with a head of cabbage, weird, but still a salad. 1 radish and a couple of green beans, also a salad. 14 blueberries, half an onion, and a sunchoke, odd, yes, but an odd salad. So contact Progressive's customer service by phone, app, or online. It's great and easy, just like salad. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Progressive knows you've got enough to worry about in life.
Hi, it's your life again. Feel like another year is just slipping away? Yeah, remember all those New Year's resolutions you made? You still haven't finished the first book. Just 19 more to go. I mean, if we're being honest, it wasn't a very realistic goal. Have you ever considered that you intentionally self-sabotage? So what's that about?
So let Progressive protect your home and auto, because you've got enough to worry about. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
Premier 6 Theater on Broad in Jackson Heights.
Let's all go to the movies.
Check out what's showing at murfreesboromovies.com. Popcorn popped fresh daily.
Movies at the good old premises.
Premier 6 on Broad in Jackson Heights.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
This is Kim Dunaway from Sunshine Nutrition Center. You hear me on Monday mornings at 7:20 talking about how to lead a healthier lifestyle. We carry supplements, personal care, and grocery items at both our Murfreesboro and Smyrna locations, family owned and operated since 1989.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Bill Krau's third final segment of the Thursday morning edition of the WGNS Roundtable. I hope you all enjoying our nice conversation. In fact, a very special conversation with a very special friend, Bobby Welsh, 26 years in the military. As I was saying right before the break, had a student in the Air Force whose primary purpose was to recruit medical specialists to military facilities, and he was looking for a person who deals with internal digestive problems, very much of a specialist, to go to Westpac out of a military facility in Japan. And it was interesting to hear how he recruited the medical personnel. He would go to doctors and who were 60 patient a day, one of these doctors who, totally is burning out, having family issues because of the 100 hours a week being spent on medical practice, paying back their medical loans, et cetera, et cetera. And he would bring back a military personnel to say, well, why not take a break? 4 years. And I never realized this, that they could negotiate pay and compensation with personnel to recruit. I never thought in the military you could negotiate a pay base. And they would bring them back, come back as a colonel, given the ability to have their own house, their own domestic work, cooks, drivers, etc., and give them a chance to do research in military facilities, erase their medical debt, etc. And a lot of them took it. Did not stay after the 4 years, but took it as a break from that pressure. So you can tell the second Louis that may be in his horizon 10, 12 years from now. Bobby? Did we lose Bobby? Okay. Oh, here comes Brian to get Bobby back on the phone. So it's kind of an interesting point to literally see that there are great opportunities in the military, great opportunities to see how men and women can do. But in this Memorial Day weekend, are we here, Bobby?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. We lost you.
Yeah, I see the number coming up, but I don't know. I can hear you, but that was well said. I want to give a shout out to you, however. You introduced me to a group that I ended up going overseas 9 times to China to teach, and you just, I thought at 45 colleges that I had taught at a lot of places, some people said I was continuing to look for work, but you've taught at least 60 colleges by my count.
Can't stay at one place long.
Yeah.
Well, here in Tennessee, I've been in Montlow since 2003. Columbia State, I've been since 2017. But I can think back with the Cal State system in Southern California from 1974 to 1989. So I guess I had 15 years with the Cal State system. And then some of the private schools we went to, like AIU, American Intercontinental University, and Embry-Riddle, etc. They went to Pekin Valley, so they'd have strong times. They needed adjuncts. They needed partially, and then they would be bought out or they would close, as the case was in some of our schools.
But you are unique because not only were you teaching, but you were also serving. You were working in those areas in which you were teaching. And unfortunately, a lot of teachers, while they are good, it's hard to stay connected. And you and I are both working in an area now where it is difficult to keep up with what is going on in our government, and I think it's intentional, but it's just to keep up with what happened yesterday is hard enough. Much more than today. Who knows?
I used to have for many, many years in American government, students would try to predict a year from the date of class. I no longer do that. You can't predict. I can't predict a week from today and so forth and following the events and activities. But, you and I brought to the classroom, and I've sat on many interviews interviewing prospective teachers, and I will initially ask them, and I think you are the epitome of this criteria. You need a sense of humor, and you bring that sense of humor to the classroom. I start every class with happy joke time. They're bad jokes. What was the one I just picked up from my file this morning? Where did a surfer go to school? A surfer went to a boarding school. See, if I can get students to moan like that, I've started the morning, and then we can get into serious business. But
a dad joke.
I know. But you need a sense of humor in the classroom. I'm not so sure, especially as we're spending this morning in tribute to the million men and women who gave their lives, as we spend, especially today, tribute to the more than 2 to 3 to 4 million Americans who sacrificed a loved one for the defense and protection of this country. I take a look at, we have to retain the seriousness, but we can't lose our optimism for tomorrow. And that's one of the many things I've admired you in our years of association. Regardless of how things may be, or even going through the stage that you're going through in these past 2 months, the optimism. You spoke with such great optimism of your grandson, the second lieutenant to be. So you're, on the one hand, a moment doesn't go by that you're not thinking of your lovely, lovely wife of 65 years, Anne. But on the other hand, you're thinking of tomorrow, the optimism with that young man. I trust you will be at his graduation, the good Lord willing, when he gets the stripes on. Correct?
Absolutely. I will have him raise his right hand and swear or affirm that he will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
And you will have a salute to him that right hand never was so strongly felt in the air, correct?
Absolutely. That will be. I have enlisted many in my day on active duty. As a retired regular officer, I just put on my uniform and I will swear him in.
Can I ask a personal question, Bobby?
Sure.
How do you fit in the old uniform?
Next question.
Okay. I would hate to.
I have $500 worth of new uniform. I didn't exactly fit.
Both Bobby and I love to eat, so that's not made for clothes that were worn 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago.
I've been retired 43 years.
What year did you retire? I could do
82.
My math. 82. So that was in the middle of the military buildup under President Reagan, if I recall right.
He was just starting.
Yes.
When he became president, when he was taking the oath of office,
March.
The Iranians released the hostages.
Right. The same day. The day.
Within 1 minute of when he had become president.
Correct. You mentioned. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You mentioned earlier that you were part of rescue contingency planning to get the hostages out of Tehran. That was shortly after the previous effort that ended up in the crash of helicopters in the Middle East, of the effort to try to rescue them?
Well, that's eventually what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we have the time, but you only have one chance to do it right in
Correct.
special operations. You don't repeat it. So they, because of incidents, they had decided to not continue with it. And that's when the helicopter crashed into one of our airplanes. And the heroes were two loadmasters who got over 60 people out of that airplane in under 2 minutes before it exploded.
Phenomenal. Well, as we slowly approach the conclusion of a dreary, rainy Thursday morning in Middle Tennessee, how's the weather there in Florida?
Well, I'm up in North Carolina, but
Carolina.
it's at 90 degrees down in Florida, and I'm in Cary.
Where's that
North
near?
Carolina. That's close to Raleigh.
Okay. Did you have a big rally? Did you have a big rally there?
A rally at Raleigh?
Yes.
With Rowdy.
Yeah, pretty much so.
And it was wonderful.
You know, I have to tell our audience, one of the universities that both Bobby and I were part of together was, again, as I mentioned earlier, Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. And for some strange reason, I guess they couldn't get anybody else, they would ultimately ask you and me to do the graduation ceremony. And we were up at Point Magoo, the naval facility up there, and doing the graduation. I don't know whether the graduates and the family of graduates appreciated our banter back and forth with the jokes and with the funnies and with the happenings and so forth. But I don't know if you recall that afternoon at Point Magoo in the officers' club there on the naval station of graduation of you and I. That's, I think, where really the Bob and Bill show really began.
I think it was Bill and Bob, but go ahead.
Okay. We'll just call it Double B.
Yeah, B&B.
B&B.
Bed and breakfast. Yeah, you make both.
And no Uber involved.
Uber and out. Bill, you are one fantastic human. You epitomize everything that's good about this country. And I really want to thank you and the blessings to Barbara and all of your family.
Thank you.
I just wish we had been closer. There's a reason for everything, and there's a reason we're discussing it. There's a reason that you have taught. There's a reason that you are on this podcast. You are spreading, I'm going to call it the gospel.
Well,
the gospel according to Bill Krause.
And last time I got a gospel, I said, boy, we're spending too much on driving. I'm sorry. Excuse me, folks. I couldn't resist that.
Oh,
And publicly, I'm extending the invitation. Bobby, when you come down and your grandson and family are still in Murfreesboro, I understand.
It'll be in about a week that we have to arrange a little luncheon meeting.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll be going up to visit a friend who unfortunately had a stroke. He's a retired. He went through Master Sergeant, went through full Colonel. He was a sheriff and a policeman in Louisville, Kentucky. So I'm going to go up and visit him and the family. The specific day isn't decided. It'll be a Wednesday or a Friday of next week.
Your visit will be our priority. Bobby Welsh, thank you for being Bobby Welsh. Bobby, thank you for being on the Thursday morning roundtable. And Bobby, I know Ann is listening. I can't tell you what frequency WGNS is reporting outside this world, but our love and respects and gratitude for Ann and your lovely, lovely family. We will see you shortly. Goodbye, my friend.
Barbara. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.